Hello everybody. So in this video, I am going to go over pretty much the gun system that I've added to my visual pinball machines. So if anyone's talked to me before and they said, hey, I want to put, like joysticks and stuff on my machine, I want to make it a half arcade, half pinball machine, you will know that I'm very famous for saying, no, I'm not going to do it. And there's a lot of reasons why I would never want to put joysticks and buttons and stuff and playing arcade games on the arcade. It's a pinball machine. It's meant to play pinball. But then why am I being a hypocrite and now saying, hey, you can play guns on it? So the justification for me not being a hypocrite, a couple things. So number one, they're not actually installed on this machine yet. You're going to see, well, you might not be able to see it, but wires and guns just sitting on the floor right now. So underneath the cabinet, I'm going to have holsters set up so that the user can then tuck the guns underneath the machine and then just, like a little Velcro strap to wrap up the wires and stuff. And then when you come downstairs or wherever you have your machine and you're looking at it, either from the side, basically anywhere other than on your knees, you're going to notice, hey, this just looks like a pinball machine. It doesn't look like an arcade. It doesn't have joysticks on it. It looks like what it's meant to look like, except for this one little 1 centimeter by 7 centimeter strip there, right? Which sometimes is going to have a topper. There's going to be beacons. There's stuff distracting from that anyways. And that's basically it. So other than that, it doesn't visually detract from what the main purpose of this machine is, which is obviously a virtual pinball machine. So that's number one. Number two is there's a pretty decent computer in it. So because the computer is already there, you already have access to a PC and a GPU that's going to be able to play a lot of the newer games, which I'm going to show you, which is basically on the Technoparrot system. So Technoparrot is let's call it a newer emulator that emulates a lot of your 3D systems that MAME does not. And some of the other ones don't, like Sega Model 2 and Model 3 and stuff like that. So the guys at Technoparrot, they're emulating newer and newer systems. And then so if you want to pay for them, you can pay for them through Patreon, and then you have access to the newest games. And then if not, you can wait, I don't know what it is, 6 months or a year or something like that. And then the titles that they're working on, then they become into the free version, and then you can get them there. So as of right now, some of the newer titles, House of the Dead 4, House of the Dead Scarlet Dawn, Haunted Museum 1 and 2 were just released. Different things like that. There is a new Terminator, which is still under Patreon lock at the moment, and there's a new Aliens, which is still under Patreon lock. There's, I think, 5 or 6 games that are still Patreon locked at the moment. But they're always releasing new games. Castlevania is going to be coming out at some point, and a whole bunch of other ones. So it's an emulator that's still being actively worked on. Big Buck Hunter is another one. I don't know which version of it, with a whole bunch of new titles. And then all your older ones. So if we go in here, a lot of your older titles that were, let's call them in and around the year 2000 or before, those are already done through MAME. So there's maybe 5 or 6 different systems I have on here to go and highlight the bulk of the really good games that exist. I don't currently have PS3 on here. I have to find out if there's any worthwhile titles on PS3 that aren't ported somewhere else. I'm just going to get a keyboard so I can kind of scroll through things here behind the camera. So a lot of the games that are in MAME that people would remember, Terminator 2 Judgment Day was a big game on the arcade. I'm just going through these. Okay, so there's an Alien game, Alien 3, I guess. Area 51 was a popular game. Carnival was a really, really popular game. Oh, I've got some things in here. ROM chips I have to remove. What else? There's a couple deer hunting. All your Versus titles, I believe. So the ones that you played on Nintendo are normally under here, like Versus Duck Hunt, Versus Hogan's Alley, different things like that. So all your Nintendo light gun games that you played, you can play on through the MAME system. I don't have a Nintendo category. They're just here, and they're the arcade version. Jurassic Park, which is a rail shooter. Terminator 2 is technically a rail shooter as well. They're not light gun games per se. Lethal Enforcers. Yeah, you gotta get rid of those. Interesting. Operation Wolf. Point Blank are really cool party games. So they're multiplayer party games. Anyways, I'm not really here to describe the games. But I just wanted to show that there's different emulators that are all set up. Virtual Cop 1 and 2, House of the Dead. This House of the Dead 1 is in Model 2. House of the Dead 2 is in Naomi. I don't think I have House of the Dead 3. That might be a PC-only title. I'd have to look. But the bulk of the newer games, like I mentioned, are going to be under Technoparrot. So like I said, Aliens Extermination, Far Cry. What is this? Some of them I don't have the media for yet. Gaia Attack is just a new one that came out. Haunted Museums. House of the Dead 4. House of the Dead 4 Special. Scarlet Dawn. I'm not sure if I have the Let's Go Jungle ones working yet. Operation Ghost, Rambo, Star Trek Voyager. Just want to show you this. This one's terrible. This game is absolutely terrible. It's probably because it's old. I don't know when this was made, 1974 or something like that, with those graphics. Just so no one's going to play that one. And there's Time Crisis. Tomb Raider is a new release that just came off Patreon. Transformers Ultimate Alliance is a really cool one. Human Alliance, I guess. Not the ones. Anyways, so there's a bunch of games on there, and obviously I can update those as they go and stuff like that. Customers can update them on their machine. I would obviously make tutorials saying, hey, here's how you add a game to Technoparrot to make it pretty easy for the customers or the end users and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know how exciting it is for me to show you me actually holding a gun. Whoops! I kicked the screen. But anyways, I'll open it up. So both guns do work at the same time. Generally speaking, and there might be the odd exception or two, but on the hundreds of games here that are for guns, generally speaking, if the machine is built for two guns, both guns work. So I've done all the grunt work it takes with Demul Shooter and all these other different programs and stuff like that to ensure that you can get both guns working at the same time. There's certain games, obviously, like Big Buck Hunter, that's a one-player game and stuff like that. But if it's meant to run with two players, this will run with two players. I'm only going to grab one gun just to make it easier. Oh, and then I guess the other thing I didn't say. So the other reason why I'm putting these light guns on the machines, or the ability to, I'm not forcing people to put them on. The other thing is with these light guns, at least with the aim tracks, they generally work best when you're standing slightly back from the machine. So obviously if your sensor's here and your hand's here, it can't, I should show it up there. The closer you get, the less this works because it's a line of sight, kind of like your Wii remote. But with a pinball machine, generally you're already standing 4 feet back, and basically you could be snuggled up right against the front of this cabinet here, and the gun's going to work fine. But you're probably going to stand 1 or 2 feet back, especially if you're with a buddy. You're not going to be standing literally with your crotch in the plunger. So you're going to be standing 5 or 6 feet back. So the guns themselves work perfectly for this system because a lot of these arcades, they were built with, you know, either you're sitting in a cabinet of some sort and you're further back from the screen, or some of them kind of had like a pedestal system where the guns were back here and then you were shooting on a screen that was further away from you. So it's actually aesthetically the same feel as the majority of light guns would have had if you were actually playing them in the arcade. So A, you've got a computer that can handle these games and the computer's already there. People aren't paying for a computer upgrade just to play gun games. Great, that's awesome. It doesn't aesthetically affect the look of the visual pinball machine. That's awesome. And then number 3 is that you're functionally playing it the same way you would at the arcade. Kind of the reason why I play only retro games on my arcades, because no one stands in front of arcade machines with wireless controllers, so I don't use those games on there. But yeah, so mostly, and I'm going to go over this in my own customer tutorial videos, what the different buttons do, so I can see that you hit start there. Now, I don't know how well my calibration is going to work because I'm standing right in front of my door and I've got all the light pointing right at my IR sensor. But basically what we're going to want to see in this game is... Let me just stand right in front. Yeah, the light is playing terribly with it. Anyway, so you can shoot. There's your primary weapon, throwing grenades. Your flame unit, all is off screen, which is why you can't see it. But I will load up the second gun. I start. Some flames at them. Launch a grenade. Should the grenades work? The one thing that I'm trying to figure out is, let me just close that out. So the guns work awesome. The one thing that works really cool in some games And I think from what I've heard is that so because you have surround sound feedback right now, all the sound on your gun games are coming through those two speakers. There are some games like House of the Dead, and I think because the initial hardware, the actual hardware, is set up so that it's like 7.1 surround sound. So House of the Dead actually has sound coming from all the different speakers. So you've got all your SSF working, and it sounds wickedly immersive. It sounds really, really good. And then you go and play a game that only has 2.1 sound, and it's kind of meh, but it is what it is. So I'm trying to find out if there's profiles for Equalizer APO that I can force 2.1 sound files to go into 7.1, or at least play 2.1 on all three speakers type of thing. So I'm still trying to work through that at the moment. But otherwise, basically for not that much more, you can go and add guns to these systems now, and you kind of have a 2-in-1. You've got your virtual pinball machine, and then you've also got an like a gun, arcade gun cabinet type thing. So you're not going to play the joystick games. So you're not playing Pac-Man on it and stuff like that. Which honestly looks terrible and plays terrible on a pinball machine anyways. But you do get all their light gun games, which in all honesty for grown-ups is way cooler, and those games we have a lot less access to. You can go online, you can get an emulator, and you can go play Pac-Man on your couch if you want, but without gun games, or without guns, you're not playing any of these titles. So it's a little bit more restrictive in terms of playing these, so I would rather showcase those games and allow people to play those games. Go download Pac-Man and play it on your phone or something like that. That's my thought. Anyways, so that's the new system. Again, maybe in the next few weeks or so, I should be pretty close with my new floor model on the LE side, and I can go and show everybody. So I've got beacons that I'm installing on the new machines. Again, I'll make another video for this, but then I've got RGB flipper lights and all these other things. So I'm adding a whole bunch of stuff. Let's say upgrades that the customers can get if they choose that they want to get those types of things. Yeah, and I'll be posting some more videos about that shortly. Anyways, that's it. I don't have anything else to say on it. Anyways, if anyone has any questions and stuff like that, feel free to reach out. If there's things that you want to see on upcoming builds, if there's, I don't know, comments, suggestions, anything, I can only get better if people let me know, hey, these are things you can do better, these are things you can add, these are things, whatever, do differently. Let me know. I'm happy to implement stuff. I'm implementing all this stuff because people have asked for it. So I spend my time trying to implement and do more things. All right. Thanks very much, guys. Have a good day.